As people who test cycling kit for a living, we're a very lucky bunch because we test tons of kit, whether it's mountain bikes or gravel. We get to test some of the very best kit and the very worst, and some of it even ends up on our own personal bikes. No, we don't just test bikes, we do have our own bikes that we like to ride the weekend sometimes. So we are bringing you a brand new series, maybe a little bit inspired by the guys off over at Road.cc, but we're going to show you our very own bikes. We're going to tell you exactly why we've chosen them and what we've spec'd the bikes out with, and we're going to tell you why we've done that. So we are going to start off with my bike. I'm on the Canyon Spectral CF8, and yeah, let's get into it. So I'm Liam, I'm off.road.cc's Deputy Technical Editor, and this is my Canyon Spectral 29 CF8. It's a 2021 frame, and it served me really well. I really like this bike. The reason why I bought it was because, or it started life as a test bike, and I just enjoyed it too much. I always wanted to pedal up again to get another descent in, and it's just suited me really well. Its geometry is nice and aggressive without being too mental. The seat tube is nice and reasonably steep. It's not too bad. Slack head tube angle. But what's interesting is that I've recently sized up to a large frame. Yeah, so people who read my comments in the comment sections and YouTube videos will know that this was once a test bike. I'll put the review in a card or at the end of the video or something like that, so you can go and check that out. But yeah, I rode a medium frame for a good year, and I was very happy with that throughout the year. I raced it and just rode it non-stop. But only recently I've started testing like longer bikes. You know, we're talking about 485mm reach, and that's exactly what this large frame has. So I spoke nicely to the guys at Canyon and they sorted me out. People who have seen that review will have noticed that this bike used to be green. Of course, it's not now. Again, Canyon were really good. On that original test bike, there was a little crack just here on the down tube. And before buying it, I said, you know, I'm still really happy with the bike, but there's a crack in it. Is there anything you can do? Thankfully, he said, yes, it's covered under warranty, we'll sort you out. And it turns out that crack was literally just a little bit of a defect in the paint. So top marks of Canyon's warranty service there. They're fantastic. They've even sorted me out with brakes. So I had a Shimano XT caliper with a sticky piston, and they just outright replaced it. Can't complain, they're great. So moving back on, I chose this bike because it is pretty good at everything. You got 160mm travel at the front, 150 at the rear, and you know that's just it's more than enough for plenty of the UK's trail centres. But when things get extra lumpy, you've still got that travel to play with. Yeah, I've just been really happy with how this bike performs. You know, trail centres, natural stuff, steep stuff. It's a really good all-rounder bike. I have tested the 125 model, and I like that just as much. You know, it's got the same geometry and that kind of stuff. I just like that extra bit of travel just to kind of get me out of jail when I need to. This bike, in terms of its spec, it is pretty far away from what it used to be as standard. So this was the CF8 model, and there are still some bits on it, such as the fork was the original fork. The mech is the same. What else? That's about it. Oh yeah, and the stem. But yeah, apart from those 3 or 4 things, everything is exactly, or no, it could maybe be considered as a custom bike. So let's start off right in the middle here. As you can see, this is a coil shock. This is the Mazzocchi Bomber C1 or something like that. I'm really poor at remembering things, even if it's on my own bike. This did have a Fox DHX2 or DHR2. That's a Maxxis tyre. I think it's a DHX2 or something like that. It was an air shock with a piggyback. I still have it, but I went for a coil shock because it really calmed the rear end down. With the air shock, it was super lively, and while that was great fun, when racing over really chunky rock gardens or something like that, the rear end was pretty rowdy, so I wanted to calm that down a little, and that's exactly what this coil shock has done. I can't tell you the settings that I run on it because I definitely can't remember that, but I'm running a 500 by 2.80 spring. I recently went up in spring weights because maybe I'm putting on weights myself, and yeah, it's performing much better than it did back then. Up the front we have, this is the Fox 36 Grip 2. Again, it came standard on the bike, but it's a fork that I've really been happy with. I'm loving the tunability, and just its general trail feel is spot on. As you can see at the top here, I have the fancy orange Fox twisty things. I visited Fox to learn some more about suspension, and they gave me those, which is really nice. It's got SKF seals. I took this to TF Tune, they're very local to me, to get like a full service, and yeah, it came with SKF seals. And what's really great about TF Tune is that you can put your weight and your style of riding and your bike in, and they'll tune it for you. And to my surprise, they've actually done a really good job. Not to say that I'm picky about my suspension, but I know what I like. And yeah, I've not changed it from there. Maybe I've taken a bit of compression, high-speed compression off, of which I'm running 2 clicks. And I've got 2 bottomless tokens or volume spacers in here, just because it ramps up a little bit more, and I quite like that. It holds the fork up better in corners and when doing steep things. But it can leave just a little bit of travel, just in case things get a little bit spicy. What else? Let's go up to the cockpit here. So this is a nuke-proof Horizon V2 carbon bar. This is here for a very specific reason. So, ooh, don't want to tip it. It's an offset bar, which is in itself is quite interesting. So if we look at this section here, it's quite hard to explain. The handly bits, the bits you hold onto, are pushed forwards a little bit. So it gives you the back sweep, a really nice and comfortable back sweep, but without sacrificing your bike's reach, or, yeah. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, and yes, these are handguards. And I'm a firm believer of these being a case of don't knock them before you try them. Without sounding too romantic, they give you an extra bit of freedom, so you can pop the end of the bar into a bush if you want to corner a little bit tighter, or if there's a straight line and there's just tons of ferns, you can just go straight through them without worrying about whipping your hands and hurting yourself. And these particular ones, they have squishy bits. These are the Send Hit Knock V2s. I was a big fan of the original version, but these are slightly more refined. These are on review, so I don't want to say too much about them, but so far so good. There's a lot of coverage. They don't look horrendous. They look pretty sleek. And there's loads of adjustability, and they work with Shimano levers, which is massively important. Saying that, I'm not running Shimano levers anymore, because I'm running the Hope Tech 4 levers with the E4 calipers. These were on test, and I'm kind of playing with them again. I went back to the Shimano XTs, now I've gone back to the Hopes, just to see how they are. And they're interesting so far. The bleeding process is a bit hit and miss. You've got to be really very thorough with these brakes to bleed them properly. But once you have bled them properly, they feel fantastic. Then, yeah, another elephant in the room, I guess, is these red things. So these are the lizard skin lever grips. You might remember them from way back in the day, where they were like some slip-on things, but they were recently remade so they stick on instead. And I also put these on my Shimano XT levers, and when peeling them off, they left a horrible, horrible residue. So that's one reason why they're still on these. But the second is because they just add a little bit of squish to the lever, not in a bad way. It doesn't really affect the lever feel when you squeeze them. It just kind of smooths over the CNC'd edges that you get on the Hope brakes. And when riding gloveless, which I do sometimes, it's a really welcome feature. Grips. These are the more lizard skins. I think these are the Chargers. They're only on here because I tested them and I like them. I reviewed them well, and they're still on there. I've not moved them. Yeah, they're pretty good. They've got this weird diamond thing which feels great on the fingers, and they've got a palm pad, so you have palm grip, I think. I'm not particularly sure. What else? I'm running Shimano Dior XT shifting. I like this particular shifter because you can push it extra hard and you can click down 2 gears. I only figured that out a couple of months ago, which I'm embarrassed to say, but it works really well. I've been using that non-stop since figuring it out. I have a bell on my bike. I think a bell is a really overlooked component because it is safety, but it's also kind of friendliness to other trail users. You know, I don't want to be charging through a trail that opens up onto a fire road, and I don't want to kill someone's dog. So let's not do that. But it's excellent. So this particular one is from Granite Designs, and you can pull it so it's free to ring all the time, or you can push it up, which keeps it in like a steady spot. And if you want to ring it, you can just do it manually. So when I am, like I live or I ride in a reasonably built up area, especially on weekends, so where my super loud free hub may or may not attract attention, the bell definitely will, and it has saved my ass in a few times. It's something that more people should ride with, I think. It's sensible. They're not too expensive, but they are sensible. And then moving over to my ends, this is the Wolf Tooth. I think that's like the, what does it say there? Light action. It's the Wolf Tooth light action dropper lever. And yeah, I really like it. It feels great. It's all CNC machine, so it's all like posh and lovely. It's got a bearing in it, so it's nice and smooth. And as its name suggests, it does have a really light action when doing the dropping stuff. And something you won't see in my cockpit is that in both of my bar ends, I have more Granite Designs stuff. So in my, I'll be impressive if I remember this correctly. In my left grip, that is a chainsaw. In my right grip, that is a tubeless repair kit. So yeah, they're not exactly an easy reach. They are hidden underneath the grip. So if I want to get them, I have to take them off. But I'm a massive believer in, or believe is probably the wrong word, but I'm a massive fan of carrying everything I can on my bike. So thankfully the Granite Design stash system has helped that. Moving on to the more Granite Design stash stuff, I've got the bike's going. No, it's not. So in here, this is the Granite Design Stash RT. It's quite a clever little thing. So it hides in the stereo tube. It acts as the staff-angled nut, and it's really easy to install. There's a little bit down here, and it all just tightens together. And there's a spring inside that pops this bad boy out. It's a ratchet tool, which is the big kind of unique selling point against any other stereo tube-based tool. It's got all of the little multi-tool things I need, even with Phillips, even though I'm pretty sure I'll never need that on this bike as it stands. You know, it's got a T25, it's got a 4mm, it's got everything you need really, especially if you join it with the rest of the Granite Design stash system. Right, so that can go back in there. And as we're on the subject of my cockpit, you'll see that my bike's surprisingly color-coded, and that is something that's never happened before for me. You know, when you test kit, a brand will send you something, and if it's bright green, it's bright green. You deal with it, and you know, sometimes my bike does end up looking a little bit mental, maybe like Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat in bike form. But yeah, believe it or not, I can't believe it. My bike's looking rather color-coded thanks to these pedals and, you know, this bell. Forget the lever grips, and yeah, I'm liking the look of it. What else have we got? Let's go down to the wheels. So these wheels are the WTB CZR i30s. They are carbon. I've had these for a couple of years, and while they are carbon, they're not particularly lightweight, but that's because they are very, very strong. I took these to be trued only once, after a full year's riding, and the mechanic just said you didn't really need to do that, which is awesome. But I have replaced the free hub bearings and the wheel bearings. That's after about 1.5 years worth of riding, which is, considering some of the quality of some bearings, you know, that's a given. On those wheels, you'll probably notice that I'm not running matching tyre brands, and while a lot of people will say that's a sin, I think if you're happy to forgo the matching look, it's the best way to go, seriously, because you can run tyres, or, you know, while most tyres on the market are pretty damn good, there are some that are better than others, and some that are better at some things and some that are better at other things. So at the rear, I've got the Maxxis Sector, and this is my favourite ever tyre to have on the rear because it rolls really well and it grips really well, and that is in basically all conditions. I think I'm running Exo Plus. I can't see it from my side. I can only see the Maxxis sign. I think that's Exo Plus, and I've ridden this for, again, a couple of years. It is looking a little bit worn down now, but I reckon that's got another year's life in it. Moving to the front, this is the WTB Verdict. This is like the Generation 2 one as well. I rode the wet version and the Gen 1 version, and again, I was basically love struck by this tyre. And then when WTB brought out the updates to this tyre, it just got even better. This tyre, it kind of feels like home to me. Again, you can ride it in basically all situations, apart from like the proper wet. But with this new generation of tyre, the shoulder knobs are much more supportive, and it's running the SG2 carcass. Yeah, I really like it. So I've got the fast, is it fast? No, that's the high grip and light version. And it does grip very well in basically all conditions. Again, apart from super slop. Moving on. Oh, one of my favourite other bits. It's a bit weird. So these right here, this is the no clog high flow tubeless valves from 76 Projects. Rather small brand. They specialise in 3D printing, so they do loads of like mounts for things and things like that. You know, fantastic little brand. But when Santa Cruz brought out, or no, it was Reserve, they brought out those, I can't remember what the valves were called, but again, like high flow, low clog valves. 76 Projects were quick to be like, oh, hang on, look, we've done this before. And they sent some in for testing, and I've been really impressed. It's basically, installation is a little bit different. You have to put it all together around the rim, but it just works excellently. So, you know, it lets in more air, which is great for tubeless, and I'm yet to clog them. They're fantastic. They're pink, which kind of destroys my color-coded bike, but I don't really care. They're really good. So while we're on the subject of wheels, these are the Hope rotors. They came with the brakes. They look super cool. I'm very happy with them. They work fine. They cool really nicely. This is an SLX cassette. I just got one cheap and it works. It's a bit heavier than XT, but weight's weight. I don't really care. XT mech, we've been over that. Oh, and so the cranks, that's a little bit of an interesting one. So I'm really good at rounding out the pedal mounts. So technically this is a whole new crank set for this bike. Again, I managed to get one really cheap. And then, yeah, moving on, we've got the brand new Wolftooth waveform pedals. These are on test at the moment, and so far opinions are rather good. They look fantastic, and of course they match bits of my bike, which I really like. But yeah, they're kind of concave in all directions, which is quite interesting. 11 pins on either side. So yeah, they've offered plenty of grip so far. I'm quite happy with these. There will be a full review coming very soon. And then the chainring, that's an oval chainring. I find oval chainrings absolutely excellent. They just really smooth out the pedal strokes. So with the round one, it's like clunk, clunk, just trying to chug along. Whereas this one, the motion's still the same, but there's power in the whole of the rotation of the chainring. So that feels like more acceleration when you're putting the power down. It offers more grip at the rear wheel because everything is smoother, it's not so peaky. And the suspension platform is a bit calmer. This is quite a good suspension platform for its pedaling, but the oval chainring just adds a little bit more stability to that. Right, moving on. What else have we got that I've forgotten about? Okay, so here I've got the Fidlock thing. That's the mount for a bottle. I'm a massive fan of the Fidlock bottle cages. Well, it's not bottle cages, but the bottle clicky on magnetic thing. But as you can tell by the piggyback on my bomber, there is no room for a bottle cage or for a bottle at all. It's simply a case of I just haven't taken it off. I don't think I will because I don't know why really, but we're not going to take it off. But alongside that is a hand pump from Syncross. So this one came off of one of the bottle cages that they do that have all of the tools on. But I kind of realised that I've got all of the tools in my handlebars, but I don't have a pump and I don't have any way of re-inflating a tyre. So I chose a pump rather than the CO2 thing because you run out of CO2s, but you never run out of pump unless it breaks, which it might. It's not yet. So far, so good. I don't run tyre inserts on this at the moment. I would like to. I'm a big fan of the Tuber Lights Evo HDs. I think that's what they're called. They're super lightweight, like 90 grams an end. And they're the easiest tubeless, thing that I've managed to fit into tyres, and they worked really well even down to low pressures. But because I'm testing loads of different tyres and loads of different wheels at any given point, I don't choose to run them because I need to get a really good and accurate idea of what tyres and wheels are all about. And the whole point of tyre inserts is to protect them, and of course my job is to try to break them. So yeah, I would like to run them, but I don't at the moment. Moving on, the dropper post. So this is the E13 Vario Infinite. It's a rather new one. This one was on test. There's a review over on off.road.cc, go and check that out. It's really nice. It's 180mm a drop, and it's on here just because I finished review and it's fine, it works. I have no issue with it. And then up here, this is the SGG Bel Air 3. I rarely get on with saddles, especially over long periods of time. It usually just ends up hurting somehow. But this is one of few saddles that I really do get on with. And not only is it pretty comfy, but it's got like this little hook on the back. And I don't know if it's intended to do that, but it's a really good anchor to kind of pick the rear of the bike up. The mudguard. So this is an RRP, Rapid Racer Products one. It's a direct mount one, and I really like the direct mount thing. It just looks less messy. This one's pretty cool. It works really well, keeps my face clean most of the time. I am a fan of the Mud Hugger, the Evo one as well. But the only reason why this one's on here is because it was in the office and I needed a mud guard for my bike, so I put it on. This Canyon stem, that's the same. I do have some favourite stems, you know, the P&W Components range stem and the Renthal Apex one. They're fantastic stems, but I really like a low cockpit. So this is the Canyon G5, and because it integrates really nicely with the dust cap on the headset, I can get my bars a little bit lower. But I might start experimenting, start raising them and seeing what happens. I think that's everything. So that is my Canyon Spectral CF8 29. If I've missed anything out, let me know in the comments below. But make sure to like and subscribe to see even more staff bikes. So we're going to be checking out Pat's bikes, he's got loads of them. We're going to check out Aaron's bikes, he's got a few as well, and Suvi's. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, because we're going to be bringing you even more reviews on bikes just like the brand new Scott Genius. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.